video.
It's really
I've seen a lot of them.
interesting, very.
Oh, I make visual art, so that would, be a part of visual creativity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That I wanted
But with
to-
storytelling.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wanting to get into.
What I really loved was the simplicity of it.
Oh,
Like, yeah, like you getting up and having coffee and,
Right,
but the
right.
music was really great too. It was the way it was put to the film.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when were you in an airplane?
Well, it's a drone.
That was a
It's,
drone.
remote control.
Oh.
It's about this big, and I just.
Oh, and you
And
have one of those?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It has a
wow.
camera in it, so I can see everything.
Did you have
And you-
somebody do it or you controlled the video?
I was gonna do everything.
did the
You
drone?
can control it and then it came back
Wow.
after that.
Mhm.
Wow, well, that's a filmmaking thing too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Now
just
I
different.
know I'm gonna drone.
Yeah, different things I'm wanting to experiment, which is why I came here to experiment with art. And luckily Claudia was here, and she was working in oils, but also in cold wax, which is a new medium for me, which is what I started with these two. Just out of the normal for me, but playing with textures and colors and different compositions that just challenge the way I normally make art, because I'm typically a figurative painter. I normally do like faces, people, and so I want to hopefully combine the two of the oil portraits, the smooth oil portraits.
Not bad.
There we go.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and this is another piece to my project of being here.
Just down.
There you go.
Which of course is another figurative, facial thing. But the techniques are all different, the approach of how I created them. So I'm most comfortable with oil and oil portraits, which is what I spent the most time doing. But this was the main reason why I wanted to come to the residency here for the fresco workshop. Emanuele is a private fresco instructor, and he taught us how to step by step construct the plaster, the stencils, and of course the painting itself. So I'm hoping
Is it fresco?
it's a fresco. Yeah, it's actually the authentic
Really?
the technique of the Italians, which that's a big influence for me. Italian art, Renaissance Italian art. Do the facial expressions and the very dramatic compositions of things. So I'm hoping to combine everything in my work back home to just be a better artist overall. And I think that my time here was well spent. I think I was able to accomplish the challenges of something new. I was able to execute something I'm comfortable with while still getting a little bit better. And then something that I admire is something I want to take back with me as well, the fresco technique of painting. So yeah, this is what I did along with the video.
Yeah.
So,
I have another question.
Bravo, bravo.
I have a question.
sure.
Fresco, you have to work really fast, right, while
Right.
it's wet? So you did that really quickly on the wet plaster?
Yeah, you have about 2 hours from the time it's ready, for you to apply the paint until it's done, and the material tells you when you're done. Like, you don't have any more time after that, so you have to be very deliberate. You have to know your color, your palettes, and everything like that.
So you did that in 2 hours, that face and head and everything?
Just about, maybe just under 2
Wow,
hours.
wow.
Yeah. And Emanuele, he helped us prepare the actual mixing of the plaster, because it's a very long, drawn-out process. to even get to the stage before you're ready to paint. But right when we started, it was already primed for us to take our cartoons, which is the stencils, and paint. Which also, in my day job, I tattoo for a living, and so the process of tattooing is almost identical to a fresco.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
because you have to start with like an outline, like the cartoon, and that's what I put on people, and then I shade and render the colors and the depth of it,
Right.
and then I have to be quick because people are like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I can't take all day, I have to be
Right.
Stabbing
so-
people.
yeah, exactly. So you have to be very deliberate. You have to know.
Interesting. So that really lends itself to.
Yeah, exactly.
Fresco.
It goes back and forth. So I'm really proud of it. I want to, go bigger and do more.
Yeah, it's
you know.
beautiful. And you've got all
Yeah.
that practice now, working fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I want to know something about your theory of your portrait work.
Sure. So along with filmmaking and the painting, I do photography as well. And I shot these models. These are people I know back in
okay.
Dallas. And I'm working with fashion designers, which is also why I want to come to Italy so I can learn, a lot of the fine fashion, high-end fashion. And so where these, actually all three of these came from were from photo shoots that I had
Uh-huh.
with fashion designers.
Oh,
So they dressed the models, and we had a big shoot. And these are just a few headshots from those. But this right here is actually a show that I have when I get back to Dallas about ornate head wraps. And so this is just one of the photos that I took of a large scale production. So I'm hoping to combine creative industries of fashion design, and then fine art, and maybe display the collections of higher end designers and represent them in art, in oil paintings. Have a show that's mine, but also is other creatives, together with the different accessories or dresses or things like that. So that's kind of the context of the portraits as well. Yeah. So
Bravo.
thank you.
Bravo,
Grazie.
bravo. Complimenti.
Bravo che ci ha preso, sì, un
Sì,
po',
sì, ha preso-
ha preso anche l'ispirazione e la nuova tecnica della
Esatto.
Claudia.
Mhm.
Poi ha fatto il video, poi l'affresco, sì.
Sì, è riuscito a
Sì.
cogliere
Do you-
tutto e a
do you have
unire.
your palette? Because I really loved your palette.
Yeah,
It's so
I put it in there, but funny you ask. I would like to.
You should put that up.
I want to save, my palettes, because I think that, like, if Michelangelo had a palette on display somewhere,
Yeah,
I feel like the palette might be worth more than the
sometimes
paintings.
the
than
palette is, you should.
So I think it's interesting. It wasn't as put together, and I wasn't able to display it as I would have liked to. But yeah, that's something I'd like to
Yeah.
show for each piece.
I thought your palette was kind of an interesting abstract
Mhm.
with the colors.
Mm.
In my mind, the palette's always really good,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's not good. Sometimes it's fantastic, sometimes,
Right.
sometimes it's nothing.
Mhm.
Sometimes I drag them in the grass.
Sure. Yeah.
And you
Your-
get
your
really
approach.
good abstracts, better than what you're trying.
For the finer things, though, like the things that take a lot of time and layers,
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
colors, and
Yeah.
you see like an array of every little dip of the red or green or yellow, and you see it in its raw form in the palette. I think it can be art itself.
I
It's
think so, too.
abstract brother or sister
Yeah.
to the
Yeah,
the realist.
I
So
mean, I
yeah,
would even like to see the palette with these shown,
I'm glad you. I can. It's right. It's
Yeah,
it's
let's see
right
it.
here. It's,
I really loved it.
yeah.
It shows all the colors that you used.
Yeah, I mean, and then I like to work on it being a square or
I
something,
mean, I
so
thought
I
that was a
can
great abstract.
so I can frame this, and I think that if I were to spend more time, you know, really getting into something larger, or you can see a story, you know, in the palette, you
Yep.
know,
Yep,
what I started with, and then if you were really an art nerd, you can see that, okay, maybe that was what he finished with, and I can see the colors he used to glaze, and maybe the types of brushes that were used, you know, in the work. I would have loved to have known and to see that with a lot of my, you know, inspirational artists of the past. You know,
Yeah, to see the
more,
palette, yeah.
yeah, just get
What-
more
what the
information
palette looked
of,
like.
yeah, how they created those masterpieces. It's the answers are all in the palette, I think. So, yeah, I'm glad you said something because it does, and it kind of looks like,
Yeah.
you
yeah,
know,
exactly,
you
right,
can see the reds and the greens and a little bit of the skin
Yeah.
tones. So
yeah.
it's yeah, something. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna try and take as much back as I can, but you know I can't take everything. So this will probably just, you know, be floating around here somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Maybe you could just put saran wrap around it and then it could go in a suitcase.
maybe, but even still, like the thicknesses of the paint, I think
Oh,
are
I see.
interesting to
That's
Yeah.
another
let
thing I
set
love
up and
about
dry
flowers.
over a long time, and I think that tells the age, and how old art is. If you see, you know, that pile up of, because you know it takes a long time for oils, especially, to
To
dry.
dry, yeah.
Mhm. So I
So-
think yeah, there's a lot in the palette. Mhm.
So were these models or they were the women fashion designers?
They're models.
They're models. Oh.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to travel around the world and capture people who represent that place. So
Oh.
I'm from Dallas, and
Yeah.
everyone here is from Dallas.
Yeah,
So hopefully I go to, you know, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. I can represent those places, and then I want to come back to Italy and shoot people in Milan and northern Italy, southern Italy, and say, this is where they're from and this is what they look like.
Right,
You know.
right. Yeah,
Because the designers are also from Dallas.
yeah,
So it's like I'm representing Dallas. But if I come back, I can work with an Italian fashion designers, use Italian models, you know, use Italian techniques, and this is Italy. And then
Right.
have just shows around the world of, you know, representing
Right.
everywhere. So it's a grand scheme, but yeah, this is a good start, I think. Mhm. Yeah.
Bravo.